My name is Rory Houlihan. I ran for U.S. Senate last spring, 2016, to stop the ticking time bombs so I could put our economy on track for a bright new day instead of all things ending. Well, I lost the election and am not running, but the ticking time bombs are still here, if not more so. Let me educate you on the ticking time bombs and give you the rest of the story. Part 16H, head of the stream, the clearest the water. Our original Constitution, Section 3, the U.S. Senate. Section 3. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by legislature thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Point of law 1, our Senate, our upper house, each state is given 2 senators, which is part of a greater compromise between big or heavily populated states and small, low-populated states, giving small or low-populated states an even footing in the upper house, as a check and balance to the House or lower house is set up to population. Senators have the longest term of any elected post of 6 years. Point of law 2. Our upper house or Senate is set up to the Roman model, which senators are intended to be elder statesmen. The longer term is meant to insulate them from the constant fray of election, so that they would act in the longer interest of our country. Immediately after, they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election. They shall be divided equally as may be to 3 classes. The seats of the senators in the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year, of the second class at the expiration of the 4th year, and of the third class at the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 of the may be chosen every 2 second year. Point of law 3 sets up a rotation of 1/3 of the Senate to be up for vote in 2-year rotations, again to insulate the Senate from any sudden stage changes. 2/3 will remain. If the vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess, the legislature of any state, the executive thereof, may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill the vacancies. Point of law 4. This has been changed to a special election. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained the age of 35 years and been a citizen for 9 years, who shall not be elected if an inhabitant of that state for which he was chosen. Let me work this backwards. Point of law 5. You need to be a resident of the state you're elected in. Point of law 6. You need to be a citizen of the United States for 9 years to make sure that you have a greater investment in this country and a greater understanding of our culture. Point of law 7. To be a senator, you need to reach the Roman age of wisdom, which is 35 years old. Think of the House as is for young lions and the Senate is for wise lions. But why are older lions wiser than young lions? Remember way back to the rest of the story series, part 2, ELP, on page 3. See, skill that is needed to do a job is a function of time. It takes 5 years on average to know your job. It takes 10 years to be proficient in your job. And based on the average time, a Nobel Prize winner, according to that study, it takes 20 years to become an expert in your job or field. That statement, 10 years between the House and the Senate minimum age, is significant. 10 years is the time that it takes to get good at what you're doing, to become a competent legislator. Our founding fathers wanted our Senate to be populated by competent folks. Our government, like any business, runs best with competent folks who know their job and know what to do. Being seen as an expert myself, I see how dependent my clients are to me. I see how our government is equally dependent on the government men. Have you noticed that there has been a real war against competent legislators? and government personnel, especially against Republican moderate conservatives. The Tea Party Express has been used to great effect to rid more Republican House and Senate moderate conservatives and competent legislators at all levels because they're not conservative enough. Conservatives have also cut the wages of long-term government employees, forcing them out of our government, leaving our government with a real brain drain, creating a revolving door. What happens if we create a two-term limit in the House of Representatives? That's what's being pushed. 4 years. Time gap of 6 years. If a young 25-year-old lion gets elected, term limits would literally reduce to near nothing anyone competent coming up from the House to the Senate. We would destroy the competency of our U.S. House and our U.S. Senate if we followed a two-tier rule. Take a look at our election. All presidential candidates were asked questions about the job of being president. And based on their answers, they were scored. Hillary Clinton scored 69, Jill Stein 33, Donald Trump 30, and the Libertarian guy 7. Who was demonized the most, but the most qualified person? It wasn't just Hillary Clinton either. It was folks like John McCain. The Tea Party is now the most devastating part of the Republican Party. Dark money has poured out against more moderate conservatives and moderate candidates, both Democratic and Republican. And for what? Well, after the Tea Party had won election wins in 2010, states across the country passed a bunch of ALEC laws. One I know quite well. It was a garnishment law, which narrowed what would be deducted from your income. One major expense was left out: your mortgage and your rent. The local court would garnish 1/3 of your income, plus $25 to the court. Why do I know about this? Because after my business was ruined by government, I lost 1/3 of my income and faced bills from. I found my wages being garnished, not including the mortgage, which allowed a supposed unsecured loan credit card and charges you interest based upon that to jump in front of a secured loan, your mortgage. The principle that your mortgage is the first to collect is federal law. But these state garnishment laws bypass the federal law and make paying your mortgage darn near impossible. And for many fellow Americans, impossible. A lot of good folks lost their homes in this last recession because of one of those conservative laws. There was a whole bunch more, folks. We were lucky and had our loan through a local bank, and they were willing to work with us for a year. But I know what it feels like to live on ramen noodles. Small Main Street banks were the real heroes, while the Wall Street banks got the bailout. The Wall Streeters turned around and foreclosed on good, hardworking folks left and right, forcing them into the streets. What have the Alcons done after being put in power? But taken our protections and put the too big to fails in charge of our government regulators. Trump and the Alcons are making our country great again? Far from. He is making Wall Street great again. Take it from me, when problems dictate solutions, you go from bad to worse. Conservative groups like ALEC and the Heritage Foundation now write most of the conservatively run state laws, in essence making these states proxy runs by the always lower price billionaires. I see our right to work laws as taking our rights to have a job. Tax sliding, which slides the state taxes from the wealthy to the hardworking by making the primary tax the sales tax, which undermines consumption and demand in that state, hurting greatly the brick and mortar businesses, Main Street businesses, community. Many Alcon conservative states have gone into recession soon after these laws have been put into place, like Kansas and Indiana. And of Part 16H, head of the stream clears the water, our original Constitution. The U.S. Senate, you have a good and blessed day. Bye.